What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. This is Eric, and today we're going to do a quick 2025 San Francisco Giants preview. I'm at spring training. They've had a phenomenal camp. In fact, the Giants have the best record in baseball in spring training, but of course, wins and losses not that important in spring training. If they were, we'd be in great shape. And I still think it's a really good sign. I've loved what I've seen here at spring training, and we're going to have a couple of full spring training games on the channel in the next couple of days, so look for that. We're going to have multiple camera angles, play-by-play, on-screen graphics, the works. So looking forward to that, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But what's going to be even more fun is the 2025 season, hopefully, because 2024 was disappointing. Giants barely stayed around 500 for most of the year. They'd keep falling short. They'd finally get to 500 and then fall apart. And they ended the year 80 and 82, so couldn't even get to 500. Blake Snell was a key member of that team in the second half. Giants didn't bring him back. According to Snell, they didn't even try to bring him back. You got Michael Conforto, who also left, signed with the Dodgers along with Snell, and the Giants now lost their best pitcher and a key outfielder. Luckily, they did sign a superstar name, but he's a little bit past his prime. We're talking about future Hall of Famer Justin Verlander. That's a big name in 2012. He looked okay this spring, to be honest, but it's impossible to know how a 42-year-old is going to handle a 162-game season. But we'll talk more about him a little bit later when we get to the rotation. Good news is he did win a Cy Young as recently as 2022, but let's just be honest, that was a long time ago when you're 42 years old. 3-4 years is a long time. But the Giants did sign another big free agent. This was their big splash signing of the offseason, and it's Willy Adames. Luckily, he is young, 29 years old, hit 32 homers last year, under 12 driven in, and he has a chance to become the first Giant to hit 30 home runs in a season since one Barry Bonds. He's hitting 361 in spring training. He's got 3 homers, 9 driven in, and the Giants have a lot of confidence that he's going to have a huge season, and so do I. As he's, like I said, 29. There's no reason to doubt he's going to have a big year, although freak and terrible injuries are always a possibility. We just have to hope this guy stays healthy and plays in at least 140 games, preferably 150. And the lineup, I actually like this lineup, to be honest with you. Jung-Hoo Lee is back, missed most of last year with the shoulder injury, diving into the stadium, or into the fence at the stadium. Just need him to not go too crazy. Don't dive into fences anymore. You know, it's better to not make that catch and stay healthy. We got to have this guy healthy in 2025, and he's also got to be good. I mean, we didn't really get to see what Jung-Hoo Lee could do. Hopefully, he turns out to be a solid big leaguer. We don't really know for sure, so that's still a question mark. Then you got Lamont Wade leading off here. Lamont Wade Jr. is a great leadoff hitter. He had a 380 on base percentage, best on the team for anybody who had enough at bats to qualify, and he was also second in walks behind Matt Chapman, who is also back after a huge extension, a 7.1 WAR last season, 27 home runs, elite defense. He led the team in home runs and RBIs. He's going to be massive this year and also has to stay healthy. And then you got Elliot Ramos, who made his first All-Star team. Slowed down a bit in the second half, still hit 22 bombs, 469 slugging, and hopefully he'll prove this year that he is a true all-star and it wasn't just a one-year thing. And he's having a good spring as well, 308 average in spring training. So, and you know what? This guy, Ramos, has a chance to break the ridiculous left field streak for the Giants, in which a different person has been the opening day left fielder every single season since, you guessed it, Barry Bonds in 2007, 18 years ago. There are fully grown adults who were not born the last time the Giants started the same left fielder 2 years in a row. That's freaking sad. So Ramos could break that streak. And right now in this lineup here at Fangraphs, the Giants, they put Mike Yastrzemski in right field, which is definitely Yastrzemski will start some games. But despite the fact that he's the longest tenured Giant and he's a solid contributor year after year, he's going to give you a 2 to 3 WAR. And he's a good player. He's a great fielder, plus defense, and he's got some pop. But his batting average has been pretty low for the last few years. His strikeout rate, higher than ideal. His power never really developed. He looked like he could be a 30, 40 home run guy. He's going to hit you 15 to 20. For a championship team, he looks more like a fourth outfielder to me, and that means if the Giants could find someone else to throw out there on more of a daily basis, that would be nice. And I think Gerard Encarnacion is a candidate. He's hitting 333 with a couple bombs. I'm loving what I'm seeing. But if not him, Luis Matos, who had a monster winter league. He's hitting 362 in spring training. Yaz has 3 bombs himself, but most of his numbers more like his regular season stats. 233 average, on base percentage around 300, 310. So this gives the Giants a lot of options for the outfield, including a solid veteran like Yaz or multiple young players who could get out there. And of course the DH spot is still there, so any of these outfielders could jump into the DH spot, like Gerard Encarnacion, who maybe is better as a DH. So on some nights we could have Lee, Ramos, Encarnacion, and Matos all in the same lineup. And Grant McCray is another possibility, and he has some sneaky power and blazing speed, and he's going to be in the mix as well. And as for DH right now in this lineup at Fangraphs, Wilmer Flores is there. He's a clutch hitter. He was so important for this team until last year. Injury plagued 2024, he hit just 206. I'm not counting on Flores to be a big part of this year's team, but I like that he's still here just in case he bounces back, which could be huge. And he's looked solid in spring training. Of course, he's versatile. He could play first, he could play third, he could play DH. And then you have second base right now. The Giants hadn't signed anyone in the offseason to fill that role, so right now it has to be Tyler Fitzgerald, especially after that period of time last year where he went full Barry Bonds, hit a home run in 5 consecutive games, hit like 6 or 7 home runs over the period of a couple weeks. It was nuts. He ended up with 15, but wow, what a stretch that was. He still hit 280 on the year. He had an 831 OPS. He's got great speed, solid defense, just an exciting talent, and who knows, he could be a huge difference maker. We got to find out, was 2024 a fluke, or is Tyler Fitzgerald a serious big leaguer, a potential future all-star? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And then we have some backup infield options as well, like Brett Wisely, a good defensive player who is capable with the bat, and another player, a young guy who a lot of people kind of have forgotten about and moved on from, but he's still in the organization, and that's Casey Schmidt. He's having a great spring. He's got 3 bombs. He's hitting 300, and if he has made the proper adjustments, if he's ready, he could still end up in that everyday lineup. He's going to have to prove it in the big leagues, not just in spring training and AAA, but Casey Schmidt is still an option, and worst case, he could be a backup coming off the bench for the Giants. So that's another player I'm excited about for 2025. And then, of course, the catcher is Patrick Bailey. He's a really good player, great defensive player, switch hitter. Unfortunately, he does tend to fall apart in the second half. We're going to need him to stay healthy all year long and hopefully not break down in the second half. But then, backup catcher, Tom Murphy went down. Tom Murphy can't stay healthy. He's got a herniated disc. Sam Huff, who has power. He's hit like 28 homers in a season in the minors, and he hasn't been bad in the big leagues. He's got a 258 average. He's got 10 bombs in the big leagues and a very small number of at-bats. I think that Sam Huff can be a very capable backup catcher, kind of like a Kurt Casale or someone like that that we've had in the past, like a Nick Hundley or something. Just someone who can come off the bench. He's going to hit you some bombs, and Sam Huff is going to be the man this year, in my opinion. I think that he's going to be around all year long. I hope so, but he's probably going to be the backup. The offense looks fine to me. It's exciting, a lot of good young talent, and more potential prospects on the way we'll talk about, but I really like the offense. Okay, I'm not saying it's a absolute juggernaut, or I'm not saying it's the Dodgers or the Yankees, but the offense is going to score enough runs. The question and the concern I have is this rotation right here. You got Webb at the top. He has been a horse. He has been so good. But it feels like he could be at someday he's going to have an injury. Hopefully it's not this year, but I'm just hoping that Logan Webb stays healthy because he's the one guy who we can expect to stay healthy. He's going to eat up innings, strike out batters. He finished second for the Cy Young in 23. He led the league in innings pitched 2 years in a row, and that makes me nervous because if he goes down, we're screwed, to be honest. We need Logan Webb healthy, and it's mandatory that he stays healthy because it's almost a given. The rest of that rotation, except for the fifth spot, is going to end up on the injured list at some point. You have Verlander, like I said, he's 42. He's coming off a year in which he had a negative WAR for the first time in his career. After 17 starts, he had a 5.48 ERA. You got 2021 Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. He's never been super consistent. He had that great year, but he's always been a guy who walked too many hitters. He is a strikeout machine, but he gets wild. And he had a recent Tommy John, making his first attempt at a full season since 2022, and he's 33 years old. You just got to hope for the best with him. I think if we can get 30 starts, 12 wins, I'd take that from Robbie Ray. You got Jordan Hicks. He's a former flame-throwing reliever who converted to a starter. Didn't quite make it as a starter last year all the way through the season, but he's going to try again. Hasn't looked too great this spring, to be honest. So this rotation could absolutely fall apart. The fifth spot will go to the best youngster right now. It's looking like that's going to be Hayden Birdsong. He has dominated in spring training. And then you got other youngsters ready to jump into this rotation when we need them. Kyle Harrison, Landon Roop, who's looked fantastic. And I got a feeling Roop, Harrison, and Birdsong are all going to be in this rotation by July. Mark it down. The good news is they all have great arms. We also have Mason Black, Keaton Wynn, other guys who can end up starting some games if needed. And the bullpen, Ryan Walker's back as the closer. Camilo Doval is back. The former closer still has nasty stuff when he's on, but he can get out of whack, which is why he's not the closer anymore. You got Tyler Rogers back, the submariner. Taylor got traded to save money, and I didn't like that move, but it is what it is. We got some other intriguing arms. Eric Miller, Randy Rodriguez is back. The bullpen is fine. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. The bullpen is okay. I'm concerned about the rotation, though. The lineup is solid. The bullpen is solid. The rotation is concerning. But even if injuries and underperformance define this rotation, the Giants have so many youngsters that can step in, and if they're good, we could be okay. This team could be okay, and there's other prospects that are on the way. Carson Weisenhunt, Trevor McDonald, Trent Harris, Reggie Crawford, first round pick. He's got a great arm. All those pitchers could help out. So I think this team could be okay. We could be held together by duct tape and super glue, but if this rotation can hold it together, I think the lineup can score enough runs that the team could be okay. And of course, there's another prospect named Bryce Eldridge, who is a first baseman, the number one Giants prospect, first round pick, who could give this offense a huge jolt mid-season if we need it. So overall, the Giants is a team that maybe they're not good enough to win a division, although you never know. Remember 2021, but it's going to be tough to compete with the Dodgers and the Padres and the D-backs, and it's a good division. But I do think they're better than what the sport books are putting for the Giants right now. They have them around over-under for wins at about 79.5, which is under 500. I think this is a team that's going to finish above 500. How much above 500, I don't know, but the talent is there, and if enough goes right, this could be a playoff team. And in baseball, once you're in the playoffs, anything is possible. Worst case, the rotation falls apart. The young pitchers who step in are not effective. The lineup does not have enough firepower to make up for it. And the Giants finish under 500 again. I do have a good feeling about this team. I think Bob Melvin in his second year is going to have a better year. I got this team finishing above 500, at least 83 wins. That's just a 5-12 percentage, maybe not enough for the playoffs, but I do think there is a strong possibility that they're much closer to 90 wins and that they will be in a playoff hunt come September. And it's, by that time, Who knows what this team will look like, but it's going to come down to how well they play in the second half, especially later in the year in August and September. But let me know what y'all think about the 2025 Giants. I see this team as a borderline playoff team. As a Giants fan, I want to predict that they will make the playoffs. I haven't decided yet, so look forward to my predictions for this year when that video comes out. But I do got them at least at 83 wins. Let me know what y'all think in that comment section below. I look forward to more spring training content coming up very, very soon, as well as a full play-by-play San Francisco Giants spring training game, maybe two. So have a wonderful day. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.